Dorjee Jonon Lai Janjo Bando Dane Dhargye Shigurun Gibe Tonan Gye Dola Benje Sangye Do Barajo Janjo Bando Dane Gyanzon Gye Dhargye Shigurun Gibe Tonan Gye Dola Benje Sangye Do Barajo Tibetan Dorjee Jonan Lai Janjo Bando Dane Gyanzon Dhargye Shigurun Gibe Tonan Gye Dola Benje Sangye Do Let me remind every one of ourselves here, all those who are listening through social media, take a moment and cultivate the altruistic motivation or bodhicitta motivation, seeking complete enlightenment for the benefit of all other sentient beings. And with that kind of at least contrived bodhicitta motivation, we should all participate in this discourse on mind training like the rays of the sun. I'm going to read a couple of pages from this mind training text first to give you the blessing of lineage oral transmission, followed by explanation.
somle devashunga sheve jaje deva paru jigese dama punjo shebo she juradive naja de kumbara some to je no sonma shung sheve jaje deva paru disen tonde daja she de no zo mi ba she de yo de le khala sha do de wai Timothy Dorjee Libera Yevasi Jesus Lomja Nyota Lomshi Dungan Dota Tishili Samaji Simje Tanadu Sita Lomja Mondoba Lomshu Deva Dota Tishili Soshiva Simje Tanimadu Sheda Dibashe de Shunglayan, Minuyan de Nimeja, Chitiba, Sabi, Nuzin Kiko, Judicied. Dibashunji, Daji, Shi, Muma, Sunji, Chitiba, Nuzikan, Tishi. Jungsa, Dibi, Jabashiva, de Shiba, de Hor, Judikio, Shungshi. 다니지 치에 묘메 스메시 치에 티볼로에 pom진 홍지 유도 중사비 교에 데버라도 바와 주르시 소스 다티샤미다 당은저 신조데 데레샤 파사 그들다 치즈슈 뭐도 방금 매변 봐서 수바 치즈다 어디 세워 구두는지 제가 답디사바 가르세네 시외세 다 신다 가르평기를 세워서나 니시 류lum지 항장 미동데 까니게 띵이래 남민제 뭐서 몰래지 주는 용서 땅주르वे 사회레다 제대신 시다케네 참고나 얘들 비고 뭐도 로탐지 시들로네 가야 제제면장 시험을라스 레버추스 어데리다 거기 시드던다 되가도 무슨 저와 놀lum주 인이디 가가 샤한데 기약해 뭐라 시다 그래서 누주 관계에 메도 되다데 남민제버 오늘이 뭐이 레게는 미카리 뭐 저런 도야리 뭐도지 현대가가 미리 당주데 사회레다 제리가 다 레사와다 등에마 깨알이야 차네 다 겨시벌레 레사와디 갈포이나 들도야리스 다 시다 장바디 시리즈 저거라 얘들 뭐 뭐도 봐 로아탐지 셜로네스 가야 셰제면자와 셰모자 레버치 요다 시두도네 엔디 콜 니시드 콜룸 뭐보이나 인디나 직zam지를 냠도 용해요 마스가 파도거리스요 우디리스 다디 지르나게데 가르세 디게디 가르시오나 티 카나 레디 디오디 지르나게르지 세디 디기 예수가가디 지게 용해요 마리시 세자 디데삼 비게다 메다우 스위트삼 렌데삼 그러세요 이세마베
No. Those of you who got this mind training like the rays of the sun text in front of you, we are on page 31, and Geshe read from the bottom of page 31 to page 34 to give us the blessing of a lineage oral transmission, or we call lung in Tibetan. Now we're back to page 31. As you may recall, that we have been dealing with death and dying awareness and meditation, and so there are three what are called key themes or principles, which are death is certain and time of death is uncertain, and nothing else except Dharma will stand by death and beyond. So these are the three key points or the themes, and each of them is supported by three reasons. So we have 9 reasons, And at the end of each like thematic reflection, we have to make a particular decision, 3 types of decisions. So if you do the math, it is 3 key points, 3 decisions, 6, plus 9 reasons. So it is called 6 times 9 death meditation in Tibetan, Chiwa Kuru Samba. So we have already talked about, death is certain, talked about the 3 reasons why that is what it is. We have talked about the time of death is uncertain, and talked about the 3 reasons why that is the case. And now we are going to talk about the 3rd key point, which is at the bottom of page 31. Only the doctrine can help at the time of death. So in other words, that except Dharma, nothing can stand, by you at death. And as Geshe explained, so each of this is supported by 3 reasons. That your family and friends, cannot avert death, or they cannot follow you. And all the possessions that you have, or the resources or the wealth, you cannot take anything with you, at death or after death. And even this body, which you cherish so much, is going to fail you. You can't take it. So those are the 3 reasons why, at the time of death, except Dharma, nothing stands by you. So as you can see, there is a citation from a letter to King Kanika. So as Geshe explained there, the example given that is, in the case of, your karmic actions, when these karmic actions bring to fruition, when they bring their results, so those karmic actions, they cease to exist. It is as if you have stopped or abandoned those karmic actions. So what we know is that when the Lord of Death or Yama, gets us, or when time is for us to say goodbye, we really cannot take anything with you. You may have many amazing, loving family and friends, several friends, but nobody can say, okay, I'll just go with you on this trip. You cannot have a companion in this particular kind of journey. It is a solitary journey by yourself. So what will follow us or you, after death, whatever positive and negative karmic actions that we have created and accumulated. So these karmas can't, produce their outcomes or the results. So our next birth is going to be determined by or decided by the kind of karma that we have created and accumulated, and which gets activated, at death. No.
Nasha maji, she maji, Jesi maji, Kam maji, Bami tubum, Nala jang, Sexo maji, Sen maji, Jidumi, Niji, Chitaki, Jizer John, Mingo, Donut Niji, Tsenzanya, Tizemena, She Mujugo, She Jimmy, She songs. Tire da jeval da bajera jeval la ji se jeval phue ni and be tom jo lu ji she wo jo jo yo de any shidu da any jide she de ze de nyang ta pe ta de super de song ba she wo ji nyang ta le de job ni in chi ka me cha la ga po de la wa tom tong jang ga ta she na ji ji tie kia ji yo ma ri nyang ta de ja jam ta Jumtar. Sigus imizomis, which is at the Sojigo dam to say that is a yomar, Zumotia yomaris, in the Nasa yomars, Chiburo. He majis and not what it go in Namida Jew, but so a girl that he mumble the Korea Mamboyaro. Jisi majis, that Jisi Shata, the majis. Pami Thubten de Ngala Jans, the Jevo Corsi Ba, the Conjit Jevolda, Tomzo Pusso Yorwa. Yoro de Tugajet Megatomas, 6 Mashi, same Mashi, Megata, Amjo Koya de Yomaris. See the Yigi Chitaki, Jidon, that be Cordo Monsha did the Moyana, that Chitaki is the be Chita Dishum Tembo. Juamen get the measures the just dominance and the Tia Yunga or Chiga or Maris. Don't Yigi says that doesn't Dorjee dinner. Namji what the same way she what is says on your message. Ming forget well. The Ming made number of the rapper, Michigan Ming with the number of because I did the did some did the mean a huge way, did so bendo. Korean. Say some did mean I teach us what. I should do that. You mean that and no lose you that you get to the party to rest or did I
we are on to page 32. Shri Jagadmitra, in his letter to king called Chandra Raja, he said these things to the king. So this master tells king, "Oh, your majesty, right now, you are very wealthy, you rule over the kingdom, but when you die, you cannot bring anything with you, any possessions, resources that you own. It is as if you got ripped off completely, by burglary or by robbers. It is as if the example Geshe gave is if a rich merchant is traveling, in a very solitude place, then got attacked by the whole gang of robbers and completely taken away everything. So you will be just empty-handed like that at death. You cannot bring anything with you, your majesty. And I know you have, prince and princess and queens, and when you're alive, so many people are serving you and they follow your order, but at death, none of them can accompany you or escort you, your majesty. I know that you have this majestic power, and maybe you have your army and soldiers to protect your kingdom and everything, but at death, nobody can really protect you, or you might even heard about them at death, and your power is not going to be of any use at death. Not even one single person throughout your kingdom can say, I volunteer to go with you and I really want to go with you. And there's no exception, here at all. Nobody can follow you. And forget about all of those things, your power, your army, your queens, your prince, your princess, your treasures. Forget all about that. But even your name, becomes kind of useless at death, and people may not even call you by your real name. And the Geshe was kind of chuckling over this. In the Tibetan tradition, when somebody is dead, we usually don't call that person by his or her name. It's considered as kind of bad omen. So we might say, well, I'm so sorry, so passed away, or kick the bucket, So even your name is not, people don't invoke it. They're like, I'm sorry, somebody who's dear to you passed away. So that kind of thing. So here, this master Jagadmitra tells King Chandra Raja that your majesty, you should know that at death, all of these things you own is not going to make any difference, and you have to just go alone.
It is somebody else. It's just showing here. Nancy the Shamindu. She was the show of the Kayam Kongi Jam Medoba, Medon Base, Tambeshu Shao Shui Nani, John Shao Sim Gomani, And rap to the Juba, young Samba Chene, the time the Shangism join ya the shows. That you don't get daddy show Mudava to go sun in the church as it as you don't should kind of church as the water till. The Tata because Shangism the Hinyan Shiva goes out Diego. You don't be there was the Toya, the Tava Toya, the Jake be Yella, some Dumas. You can get the consumption, you can show you some care, your daughter, she sounds wrong, or 60 years.
No, so in the middle of page 32, there's a kind of summary at the end of the citations, if you will. And as Geshe explained, so at the time of death, when we take into account all the things we just highlighted and mentioned, if nothing can stand by us. We may have, a loving family and friends. We may have, strong body, beautiful body, whatever. We may have, a lot of resources and wealth. My footnote in modern language, you have, bank balance, you have insurance, and you have stocks and whatever. But none of them can be of any help, at the time of death. So only thing that can really make sense, stand by us at that difficult time, a solitary experience, and thereafter is nothing but doctrine or, Dharma. And here, of course, we are not talking about any kind of Dharma, because the Dharma practice can be of all kinds, but here we are focused on mind training or cultivating awakened mind or bodhicitta. And as we have really emphasized this point right from the beginning, that we are here to learn about and put into practice equalizing and exchanging self for others. Dakshen Nyamche, equalizing self with others and exchanging self for others. So this is a very effective, very particular kind of a practice available in the Bodhisattva, yan or vehicles. And of course, Bodhisattvas are seeking complete enlightenment for the sake of all sentient beings, not just their own personal nirvana out of samsara. That's not their aspiration. So this kind of a really teaching is just very effective and powerful and very special teaching and practice. So all the things that we talk about, or we have talked about so far, should be taken as kind of a preliminary points or as practices that could augment cultivating bodhicitta or awakened mind, the death meditation, the death awareness. All of this should prepare us and help us to be able to cultivate bodhicitta through equalizing and exchanging self with others.
Oh, this is the Guru Sambasa. Or did that Zawasum say any good some said good or Zawasum the never show Namjing him as somebody shares the share with the Congress and maybe Basti Zawasum the Roa. That uses some that never show somebody take you some Roa. Because she doesn't have any Yakang daughter Mevashi. Said number of Geshe Phuntsok Gyeltsen, some bit say a shoe much Shiloma Hill, some never shares at the Jesus some terror. That the name Namjing Yime said the Jesus some shit, Delaya, and the Zambiling selling never mevash, Labat Yidu selling ever meva. And Shijama is Sonjin and Namjing ever Samba, Lunyam Shons. Samba still any Karsa, you just some shit. That the Sita shook, but the Hong Mira Samatella, and the Lu Lungju, or that no Lungju, the Yen Yenji, Tana Sozu Lu jumping Mars, Kajikata Givada, Chuba the Shidaka who Mars Delia, and Tam Yenda, no Lungju, and Yen Yenji ping Maris, and Tamadu that Lud so that the Java del Nyando door and over there, she did Lud the Shar, the Luga paint of Marcin. Tidita karsa jizu somshiro jizu gusila any karsa shewa gudu samas isewara
touch of something kind of
la touch of
something go to la okay
tam nyen da no lu ju me be nyen dig ta na lu je me be sa de touch
ma kan ta de ro ka ke zawa sum gi zawa re le gen kyun je sum se de shul ta je ba de ro wa ke ta je ba de sum
chi de xue bo de kong je me ba sa ba de zawa jing de wa
je bo lo
o de le da ga tam nyen da ge ping
ta la lo de ha
nyen dig ping ma ri en ta na lu ge ping tu ma ri se di je sum de
so if we refer back to the relevant kind of explanation on the death awareness, death and dying meditation in the Lamrim, Stages of Path Leading to Enlightenment treatise, there is mention of what we call, three, key points reflecting on death, each of them supported by 3 reasons. So 9 reasons and 3 key points. And as Geshe kind of reflected on that very quickly. We already talked about those things. The first key point is the inevitability of death. Death is certain, okay? And it's supported by 3 reasons. Number 1, death is certain. There's nothing mystery about that, okay? No need to doubt about it. It's going to come, for sure. Second point is that we cannot increase our lifespan. Whatever our karma has determined the lifespan to be, usually you cannot live beyond that. And then the third point is that the third point is that before we could really seriously engage in the practice, time might be up. So we might have to die without having found any opportunity to practice. So that's second key point is the time of death is uncertain. Yeah. And in general, like when we talk about many other eons and other kinds of continents, the lifespan seems to be fixed, like it is like 10,000, 5,000, whatever. But in the case of the lifespan of Jambudvipa, there is nothing fixed here. We generally think that the longest time anybody could live would be about 100 years, but most of the people never even reach there. So therefore, our lifespan is not fixed, and so it could happen anytime. And then there are many adverse conditions cutting short our lifespan, and there are few conditions supporting our life. Even those things can easily become adverse conditions. So therefore, life is very transient and very ephemeral. We could die anytime, literally. And then the third reason is that even this body, when the time comes, this body even fails and is very fragile in that sense. It cannot support the life system, so therefore it fails. And now the third key point is, except Dharma, nothing can stand by death. And the 3 reasons that we have explored are, how wealth and power cannot, buy out, opt out the death, because they can't stop it. And even if we have loving and trusted family and friends, they cannot help us not to die, or like extend the kind of a, life visa kind of a thing. There's nothing such things there. And then even this body, which we cherish so much, and taken care of, it fails, So therefore, at death, all the things we thought could, something meaningful cannot help us. So only Dharma makes sense and it can stand by us.
Oh, this karsa, Geshe karsa, de zawasum de juzen gushi teshe, Chidang was a lanushi to Gangada, the Tenzin Dorjee name goes to the young Gaden to Kaji, Shawamadab and goes to Ursa. The Kaji in Regni. Then go to get to say Regni goes to work. She the Regni goes to a because Suzuki in a Deja to come to the Pasea, you are racing. For same the Pony Car research, Rig the Shiva. That the Tenzin Dorjee in here, the she did the money Gili Jive on the Jing Shamudasam. Shamudasam, any Shima made the Mundo, Jawa language, Tito, the Lindis, Lindil Dane, Tizer Tongjin, somewhere, so she. Gumjan didn't leave the one.
No,
But the shape was a young, give it was a shitty or the shape was here. Shamudasam, and did the shit be a lazy Jill Diagri. Hamona, Tizer Tongi, the Haga Yamar, you had Kagahamana, said that just do the data that they take it. Because the dribble draw was so you did, then within the Sambu shoes it is.
No.
The Sambu shoes you the pentoship you is.
No.
The pentoship of the Shiva, the Shinako Darkness came at any job of me who is those party or what dear she would the Shina. Because that other Shisha, dear Gaga Ganda, and Shamada, but the Lending in the Sanjay Teliatico, never Yigo. Imagine that Tenzin Dorjee, the Nika said, you're the Divugo, the Shiva, this is the legend of Shamayan and Nika, you have one. Or still on that. And legend, and Nanjing Avenue was that, so some go. They was some. In the Tenzin Dorjee to Gangalia, Topaja, sugar, take it over. Legend, the Nam-kha was the Tenzin Dorjee, but is the Geshe which the Jews that it is so. Lindel Yabuji and the Chukal Jawaji and Yavania Yomaris. She said that the Queen, Del Bear Shat said, Lindel Gala. And they be Tomoshuk to Jasad Karjas and Lendega down to see what but is it that not Lama Komas Sungula Yarava, because of Gomi Tamboti, Kulumsio, the Lagle Tamut Lende Electra.
No, so.
Country Legago was that laser got to Gora.
No,
so this was a Lende Digi Mujita, Yevanigat, Casey Botati, Tipa Shezun Kazaka Yamarava. Because you think what she that the Chimundas of Tonia to carry the men Gaga Langland at Lende Joris.
No.
Larisha on the test of Lende Telia, you do something, Lende, you did give some shit. Lende Telia, yes, Jasha, give drink shit. And the Lende told Java Johnson, Tiwasham Jadwa.
No.
Lende Korangan, you tell Lava in Yamlisha, your mother.
No, so. So what follows this presentation on death and dying awareness and meditation is explanation about law of karmic actions and their dimensions or aspects. Okay? So the importance of reflecting on the law of karma and action and results, Lende. And as Geshe really explained, that there are different approaches to discourse, and the way it is presented in this text right now is that we have talked about fully endowed human form, a precious human life characterized by 18 great qualities. And then after that, we talk about death awareness, death and dying meditation, followed by explanation of law of karma and outcomes. So this is one approach, and the reason for that is really to, how should I say, to inspire us that once we really appreciate that we have this precious human life, which is very rare and difficult to find. And yet greatly meaningful, and we can pretty much accomplish anything if we put it in the right use. So we can really feel very fortunate and inspired, right, for uplifting ourselves. This approach works really well. This is it. But then sometimes great Kadamba Geshes, instead of starting their teaching with thinking about and appreciating fully endowed human form, they would start the teaching with death and dying awareness and meditation. Okay, and then they will go back to, for example, law of karmic action and results, and then the fully endowed human rebirth and so forth. But that's another approach. And so in terms of how we cultivate, right? It's one thing that we might adopt a presentation just for the sake of for teaching, explanation. Is another thing that we will adopt a perspective in terms of actual practice, how to do cultivation. So the Kadamba master's approach is more from what we call a practice point of view, right? I think if we can think about death and dying meditation, that however wonderful this life is, time of death is uncertain. Death is certain, time of death is uncertain. Except Dharma, nothing is sent by us. This can really motivate us, right? That we don't have much time, really. And so therefore, we should really be motivated, to do study and practice as much as we can. So that works. And then, of course, when we think about this, we know that the death is not the end of everything. There's something goes on. And what goes on is determined by positive and negative karmic actions. So therefore, we automatically get interested and think about the importance of law of karma and outcomes, isn't it? So then we know what we should do, what we should not do. Now we have the practice of panglang, abandonment, what we should abandon, should not do, and what we should do, adopt, cultivate, lang, right? We know that. And we follow that, then we know we have a real hope to have a good human rebirth, precious human life again, right? If we do the right thing and the positive things, then we will have a better rebirth, isn't it? So in that sense, in terms of actual practice, so that perspective or approach makes more sense, as the Kadamba Geshes have started to do. But then in others, like they might adopt. First, they might start off talking about the Buddha nature, right? The seat of enlightenment, And that, as a matter of fact, is done in the Maitriya's Abhisamaya Alankara, or the ornament for clear realizations, Dhargye in Tibetan, right? And why somebody would first start off teaching with Buddha nature, seat of enlightenment, is then we know that at the moment our mind is afflicted by negative emotions and other mental obscurations, but our mind is distinct from these afflictive emotions. Our mind can be separated from. We can purify our mind of afflictions because our mind is not one with afflictions. They are different, isn't it? And because of that, we see the possibility of achieving Buddhahood and enlightenment, because mind can be purified of all afflictions and imprints, and therefore it can be enlightened. Right, so that's also very inspiring and motivating kind of approach. So there are so many approaches to teaching and practices, and Geshe just wants to highlight that. Of course, Gyaltsen Rinpoche in his commentary on Shantideva's engaging in Bodhisattva deeds, stated, as Geshe cited, that he feels that we really need to make every effort to understand and appreciate and believe in the infallibility of law of karma and outcomes. Okay, if we can really appreciate the law of karma and we trust it, we believe in the infallible working of the law of karma, then he said everything else will work fine. Now we will do the right thing that will delight the enlightened beings and all the holy beings. If we don't have such understanding and kind of a belief in the infallibility of law of karma, then even if we do other practices to delight the Buddhas and so forth, it's really not going to be effective practice, according to Gyaltsen Rinpoche. Okay, and so as Geshe explained, when we follow the words of our lineage gurus or the masters. When we think in terms of starting point for meditation, what's the starting point? Cultivating proper motivation, kunlong, okay? And then you meditate. You just don't jump right into meditation. You just have to take a moment, correct your motivation, cultivate the right motivation, and then you follow your practice. In terms of actual practice of Dharma, we said, how should we conduct our everyday life dharmically, my new word, spiritually. So how we do that dharmically is we have to start off, believing in the law of karma. good karmas bring good results, bad karmas bring bad results, right? We have to start off with that belief system. Otherwise, there's no way to practice, engage in practice. And as Geshe explained, when we look in the Lamrim teaching, Stage of Path Enlightenment treatise, based upon the presentations of the karma, we can talk about the 3 levels of practices. There is the abbreviated explanation of law of karma and outcomes, and we talk about the small scope practice or the kibuchum, the initial level practice. Then there is the moderate version of the karma explanation law. This is where we talk about the intermediate scope practice or the middle scope practice, kibuding. And then we talk about extensive explanations of the karma and which integrate in your practice, which is advanced level practice or advanced scope practice, the kibuchembo. So the 3 levels of practices are very much related to the different understandings and the levels of law of karma and outcomes. So therefore, the bottom line is that we have to make every effort to feel the urgency of to engage in practice, because our life is uncertain. It can end any time. We really don't know that. Nobody can predict that. So feel the sense of urgency to engage in study and practice Dharma. Try to believe in the law of karma and do the right thing. So this is how we can conduct our life properly, from the Dharma practice point of view.
This is Lende diction as the Lende diction as the tongue that in the Gunism that leg any Karsa, Miguel against on and a girl did not total thing is on a schedule was it. Then you are doing to San Miguel to share or that to share. And today share the Santa until you landed a ye shares on in she machining in the there so that the Divasa and Jivachi what a lending easy man and Yamakaze Sena tell easy one easy man until Jivachi Marva. So that says on the Jivachi Altition or Tira Samoton, you saw doing it easy magic as Samoton. That Yawada Ita to the make a mother Pasha and Ali Jones get out. I want to make you your to you my guns mean on the country there. The children selling to the babe. The got to do today in the Chito to Jari, the Tina let any sang your main be but chickbody selling to any Karsa Lungi Shazum. What is semi shitapa monum? Or did they care you or what is it? Gaga, you are the Canadian person. And Koto, you may not have a chick but of Shagara. Tipping me Yakut in the young man, me Yakoyan, Gaga Yakoya, Duja and Gaga Duja, you do mean? And did a young and Chavat Yomarma, young and Chavat was make Tongoro. That did those in the Yao, you would love to Marma. Yao, I could do Yao Sakos, depending on the chamber of Shina. You got chambers that come up with the chamber of Duja. Said the individual Yad Duja. In the Chimel de Yaboy, Jones Kayomers, Tata Del, Jacob Chimpo, Shimarka Yomers, and rebel Londo Marwa. So today said that what to do near down till Yat, the Sangi Shuta to look at Chita Druga, Demo, but Chikwa, said that Chita, so you took you to Kangan so and you got the Yajiwa Shilling Mamoshin. Mamboyora. No. For the Gagalia and Jungura, Jimmy Yumora. You can mean I and meeting by the telling the issue of the Yagan Yusan. You make you also shadow or mother, you make Jimmy showing the Gangachik Bashagrama. But it is on the theatre summer tani. That landed the Gune doesn't the Concept of what gave us a hotel shugadi, that case about show, the teleshugadi. The Ganzu to goes on to that the Neda Gagagura, me Neda Gagagura. So that the Neda the Chopper bed that usually they go to Tagate Mayorwa, or the Ganga Juyorwa, some of them in the lady Lichira. Or that any chinning is on getting the same Jigba you want to order. Tipping the Jigba. What is Jigba? Kunjo Jalja, 我这大他些没说是就其他其他他些其他家家没啥，那古时候是叫这些的，这一些些的都是说，那的古时候说叫是这啥，也那几个知道讲头的现在，这几个讲头嘛是，古时候拉家的呀，就是我拉家的连着拉的了，这我这边呢，那就是几个这些呢，这个讲头嘛的是，别人这些多，拉嘛跟我送去的有的。别人没别送到这个你把心不是呢，那个我是不别我们讨不心心，别我这些，那个送到这么个这里个我这些个他的呢，那个他心是个这里没什么的，可能都不是我说，当晚的这是个交通嘛是吧？现在我的个这我这些呢，的个我这些大家心里的嘛是啊，也不习惯了，这现在个大交通了。他说：“我们那些，要那个大家是讲，那大家也没得交通嘛，是吧？就是工作假如说就交通嘛，也是。所以说别，现在关键能就偏偏给了些就么的，啥子肯定是说的，我这种就真的中国是吧
？So when we talk about law of karmic actions and results in general. Because this is where really we have to make every effort to develop a sense of certainty and belief in the infallible working of law of karma and its results, which basically in a very simplistic form is do good, have good, do bad, have bad. That's it. And we really have to believe in that. Otherwise, there is no basis, how we are going to conduct our life and do our, practice. And in a general explanation of karma, we know that if we say, if you do bad, means if we do a lot of negative karmic actions, unwholesome actions, these actions could precipitate our next rebirth in the bad migrations, in the hell, in the hungry ghost world called Pratha world, and in the animal world, where we don't want to be. In any of those, there's too much suffering, isn't it? But if we do good, we do the positive action, wholesome actions, this could precipitate our rebirth in the good migrations as humans and as divine beings, isn't it? So those outcomes, good and bad, are determined by the good and bad karmas, isn't it? Yeah, there is no such thing as you do negative karma and you will get a positive result, or positive action and you get a negative result. That doesn't work. That's not in the law of nature, So we have to understand that and believe in that. Do good, have good, do bad, have bad. So on the basis of that certainty and the belief system, then we say, well, if I do a lot of negativities and then my future is going to be in one of the bad migrations, that's a lot of suffering, isn't it? Would I like to be there? Can I really bear it? So then we develop this kind of a sense of fear that I really never want to be in any of those states of rebirth, isn't it? So when we have that sense of fear can become very positive, motivational factor where now we seek refuge. Who can really help me, protect me so that I don't have to be reborn in those states? I'm not dead yet. I'm not there yet, right? So we are talking about the future. I want to prevent such bad rebirth. So then we develop this kind of interest in going for refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, the three jewels, three ratnas, isn't it? And of course, going for refuge in Buddha, Dharma, or Sangha simply doesn't mean that we just say the line or the statement or the prayer like, I go for refuge in you, right? Because it is more than that. Refuge practice involves that we should abide by, follow the refuge precepts, right? Because the Buddha said, do this, don't do this, right? We have followed those rules, isn't it? If we don't do that, simply kind of saying, I take refuge in you is not going to cut it, And as Geshe will be giving this example, say if somebody has committed a serious crime and the judgment is that he should be given death sentence, okay? And then for some reason, from some higher authority, and in the footnote, it can be our president who can lift off the death sentence, right? And this authority says, okay, if you really regret for what you have done and you promise never to do this again, at least one time I can help you save your life. And this person says, yes, I will never do that again at the cost of my life again, right? Then you can save that life and the person, right? But if the person lies, like, okay, I'll do that, then repeat the same thing, well, you will end up dying, through death sentence. So like that, we have to follow the words of the Buddha, and we have to keep our promise, practice to be saved by the three jewels. And, of course, hell beings, predators, these are far of distance. We don't see them, we don't interact with them. I mean, they are not in our sight, right? But at least we know about the animal world. There are so many animals in our world and all us fellow human beings. Why do we find such variations among fellow human beings and animals? We all look the same as human beings, but our lived experiences are different. Some have very comfortable life, a lot of money, a lot of comforts, good health, everything's good. Success, good. Check the list, good. And some human beings, like a lot of things are going wrong on the checklist, right? Bad, poor, sickness, abuses, yagadi, right? Why is this variation? Because there are causes and conditions which brought these results. If there are no need for causes and conditions, then we all humans will be equally good or we will be equally bad. We are all positive or we are all negative, because there's no reason why some have to be successful and good and others have to fail. There's no reason. So these variations in our lived experiences tell us that law of karma exists. Good karmas produce good results, bad karmas produce bad results. The same thing we see in the animal world. Okay? In general, we say that, well, animals are not as smart as human beings and they have a lot of limitations. Maybe they can't practice Dharma, all of that. But having said that, among the animals, there are variations. Some animals, they don't have to fear so much for their life. They can easily roam about and enjoy the birds. Some animals, they always have to worry about who's going to eat me up, attack. Some animals worry they couldn't find the food properly. Other animals find abundant food, And all these variations among, even in animals, is again due to different karmas that, brought those outcomes. So this is how we have to think about the law of karma and at least develop this sense of certainty and belief that doing good positive karma will yield positive result. Doing bad karma, negative karma will yield negative result. They cannot switch and mess up. There's no such thing as, bad karma bring good result, good karma bring bad. There is no such thing. It's against the law of nature, So we should think about that. No.
In English, God of Shishore.
No.
So the Shiva did that. You were going to show the Shina, those Shina that don't the 7 penal de Yungo, Maricon, they shall do what give it to the land the Miazana, not that the Geshe Shara or Jisudo. Tabak Karshi Jivaris.
No, so.
She has got the pedal to that in the Yamid decided Yovara. Which I was going to go. She had the Matzat near Maduna. In fact, I said, that money is that. You don't say that the aunt to Tango said to my daddy.
No, so.
It loves him, but the Larisham Sunya, Lamshimota, Lamrica, what is the rheumatic money? Those are guilt carry me. Yet, some much of the some judge of the Yomara.
No,
thank God you did by young giddy, they were do Turkey. That did Turkey the color. So that the get here like you mentioned. Because same people you know, men that same people men tell ya in the court, straight up in the same people men and some of them was Yomara.
No.
She does some of them to quote that country, the bad Jack is called Doyan, Tab Yora.
No.
The Tab Yora, that's some of them, there's some doing it and Jones Yomara.
No, so.
Doya Yora.
No.
That Doya may be assembly long as a shit.
So Geshe really feels that, just as is presented in the Lamrim, because Lamrim is from the practice point of view, okay? So we really need to attach much importance to understanding, appreciating, and developing certainty of and belief in the infallibility of law of karma, karmic actions and results. Yeah, and so for this, often in the lumbering and everywhere else, we talk about, all kinds of suffering that exists in samsara. The worst ones are in the bad migrations, isn't it? Unfortunate rebirth, hell, prartha, hungry ghosts, animals. And then, of course, there's too much headaches in the human world and all of those things. So when we talk about these things, and often as Geshe is checking over this, that not many people are interested. They lose interest in Dharma. They're like, oh my gosh, yagadi. And then they want to hear more about the feel-good kind of a teaching. Compassion, love, bodhicitta, emptiness. So you feel good about it, but really if we want to grow and transform, we have to face it off. We have to face the suffering nature of samsara. And the reason why I talk about this is not to make ourselves feel more miserable because we have nothing better to do, because we know that there are methods provided by the Buddha to, not to experience many of this terrible suffering in samsara and to get out of samsara. Buddha has shown us the way out of samsara. So there is a solution, so therefore it's worthwhile to contemplate suffering. If there is no solution, let's say, why bother to talk about suffering? Because we don't want to feel more miserable, right? There's no way out, and then talk about suffering more, and then more, and then more, and what's the purpose, use? That's not what we are doing in Buddhism. We have a purpose because Buddha has shown us the way out of it. Buddha has provided us the antidotes, solutions to the problem. If there are solutions, and we are not yet in a more problematic situations, wouldn't it be wise to think about these possible future sufferings and find a way out of them, prevent them, and get out of them for good, right? So this is why Buddhism is very worthwhile. And Geshe says that even if you think about suffering, you feel a little painful, it's okay. It's not going to kill you. Because Buddha also taught you how to deal with the pain and how to find a way out of that. Okay? But if you skip the whole suffering part and just only do the feel-good part, right? Compassion, loving, kindness, mindfulness. Oh, he didn't say the mindfulness. I added that one. Okay, that's good. There's nothing harm about it, but we are really not going to make real difference. See that? Okay? And so we have to face off thinking about the suffering of samsara. And this is really, literally, Geshe said, this is not like in the Buddhism we talk about, well, this is an interpretable teaching, Thubten. This is a definitive teaching, no such debate. This is it. There is not interpretation or literal. This is literal as it is. If we really want to make a progress, we have to understand, contemplate the misery of samsara, because there is a way out. Even if you feel painful right now, it's okay. Better now than later. And do it. So that's what Geshe is saying.
Eti sabata shas, kan sabati, eti just shows that Shaju Simrin Dua, Gulu Toki. Said the Gonzata does Jimata and Pensim to be shaded, till he don't learn to go in. Tanda goes to divide on, don't go the shake, do me till later, the Batang to talk more. No. She not got the Contes, consul. You go home to Leon, your race. She said, Tanda came to that division to Tomba Sons of Marche. Unity is shares. Tanda goes to get Doctor Deamena, Calical Reoperation, or just one. But then I came as you will be young. Music Bujos as Yahira. No, at that when they call it the Northern Zimbabwe to Sudan, Ganga Tori, said. Shivu Indo, anything come what you say, any constant bed, bongo to say, any young children, Jigdeka, never seen Shire. No, so that the day you are later, he would keep us in Shivu Sidua. No, but teach you less about that. Maybe your choice is young, she was the easy music, 你们那个公家的日是这样玩吧？有这个啥子条例，比上面确实就讲这样什么学习的，其实呢，学习的干这些他没受，起码现在干了有了嘛，但我这干了有了嘛，其实我们干了些他有过嘛的。
Something I learned from the previous explanation is that's why we really had to face off the suffering nature of samsara, because Buddha has also provided us a way out. It may not be comfortable, it is painful, it's better now than later, because this will bring us real transformation within. If we don't do that, then it's like great Kadamba Geshe Phuntsok said, it's like you are skiing on the surface of the ice. You're really not going inside, finding the depth of the teaching. So that is not going to work in the long run. And as Geshe explained now, when we talk about practicing Dharma, right, now that does not mean that we have to do everything all of a sudden and give up everything. Let's say we said, as a practitioner, we should practice generosity, giving. Well, we have to be very skillful, thoughtful, mindful of how much to give, are we ready to give? It's not like we make ourselves like a homeless. That's not the meaning of practice of generosity, right? All of a sudden, like you develop kind of what we call, it's very hard to translate the Tibetan terminology called Nginjung Puse. It's just like you have this kind of a fake aversion state. Looks like nothing matters essence in the world. I just want to go now and practice everything. That's all makes sense. That's not going to work, and if you everything you have, basically you are becoming a homeless. Now you need all the support. Okay? We have to be very realistic, pragmatic, skillful as a practitioner. Practice what you can giving. Then train our mind more. As our mind become more generous and kind, we can give more, do it. Not like do it overnight, and become completely bankrupt kind of thing. That's not what we call practice. And also practicing, we talk about, it doesn't mean that, okay, now practice means I can't do anything. The whole day I'll lock myself up and do meditation, as if that's the practice. You don't have to. Nobody can sit in whole day meditation, locked in, Okay? Practice has to do with the mindset, attitude. As Geshe said, those who know how to practice, Dharma practice is not difficult. Those who don't know practice, it is a lot of headache. It is a lot of problem, difficult. So he said, for us it's difficult because we don't know how to do it. People who know how to practice, it is not a challenging. Dharma practice is not difficult for them. It's basically a mindset, that we cultivate to apply to all kinds of, situations. And as, Geshe explained, great Indian master Arya Nagarjuna in his commentary on the Bodhicitta or Changju Semta, he says that at the moment, as we are training our mind to be generous and giving, or we do the Tonglen practice, the practice of taking others' suffering upon ourselves, giving all our goodness and everything to others, it's just a mind practice. This is not going to make any difference to other people. We are not taking their suffering literally. We're not giving them anything literally. We're just in the meditation, training our mind. But if we keep on doing that, as we progress in our meditation and we develop more and more intimacy with its practice, familiarization, a time will come when circumstances are right, when we have the resources, we are happy and willing and able to do it. Okay? Then we are not going to back off. We are ready. That's why mind training works, We have to start practicing from now and prepare for the actual situation. So don't think like, doing Tonglen practice and thinking like, okay, what does that do? I'm just kind of visualizing giving, I'm visualizing taking. Who is getting the benefit? Not at the moment, okay? But it has, beneficial, impact.
This is what Karsa, Kadam Dijimide, Karsa, Konglu says, same Lord Judge says, you're the Dutch Tunduma, you said, Kaje, Takora Bajam, Kaleka, and Tobacco, there's some mother, and Dawaji, watching no to German some tradition in the Tatungushi than Peg Marasima. Riva. What is that? Kundan Lamashan Marachi Sung Remedy. Shumata de Toa this. She like it not you say. Tango you leave the Lama to start to Toya. Sometimes he was the coach, the short end. Yeah, you are Tam, but sure I thought is you are.
No, sir. Great Kadamba Geshes and Masters have amazing advices for us. And one of the advices they give is that as we engage in the study, contemplation, and meditation, we really have to be, persistent in our practice. Don't have too much expectations. Expectations ruins. We cannot assign a date and time, like a deadline. Okay, I'm going to dedicate in 1 month and then I should become somebody, highly realized or something. Oh no, maybe 1 month is too much. Okay, 1 year, definitely I have to be a holy being or something. That expectation is going to ruin everything. We just have to be persistent in our practice, keep our mind open-minded, flexible, that as you do the right things, outcomes will happen. They may happen at whatever right time, okay? But you cannot put a time frame on that, because that is going to be detrimental. And as Geshe said, a great Tibetan master called Kungden Lama, and he said, people who, as soon as they start off, study, they want to become a great scholar, erudite. As soon as they practice, they want to be highly realized, see all kinds of indicative signs, the realizations, and my footnote, flying in the sky, underneath the submarine, I don't know, whatever they're thinking, imagining. He said, that is not a good omen. That is a bad omen. That means they are soon going to fail in their practice. Don't expect too much as soon as you start off your study and practice.
What did that other thing go to the lady, the Shia Koresana? Tata Dia Ganga take Karsa, take Rava Karsa. Soju simply shook to your tonal, that the Ganga said, the Gondo to show. The Gondo showed the Yago Yola, or Cheta Zawa did all lady easy man, and the Jamdo, the Laleta Haka Yungo Marva. She said, this was the easy with the lady easy, yeah, this. Shibukeshi was in it. But this is the Karsa, yet and the Shia did it. And a Tigal that did what things not did what Trisha to Zumbos on the and the Dodani was in the Tabat of some year to Dawaka, Loka, you see, Chingedua, Dawaka, Sanji, Tabat of the Seattle. Yama that day, yes, Moonshas Chas at the Dedos, I think I'll. They a little while they turned on that Tenzin Dorjee, chess had to Karsong.
No.
And the one between years was in Lunkachi that give a best give a dose. In the middle, something that did and the Tavada, Tabi, the Dawakas, local to say, did it send that to the Shivish dose?
No.
I think I am going to chance our from like.
No, sir.
But it has that. And things that she over treated to the Lama Joey, the teaching bedroom share, it is a song about it never raising.
No. So the reason why I spend quite a bit of time talking about the need to understand, appreciate, and develop some kind of belief in the law of karmic action result is this really matters, right, in terms of our actual practice and spiritual development and growth, so without this kind of a lack of understanding and lack of that belief system, our practice of going for refuge in Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha is not going to be effective. Okay? And any other practice we do, it's not going to be really from the bottom of your heart. It's just not going to be that effective. And another thing, if I may add, is I think in the West especially, because of this technological advancement, I think one of the situations the West confronts is that instant gratification. Right? You have technological advance so much that everything is like spoon-fed instantaneously. It should be here, produced right, mass production right now, all this. Now, we cannot have the same expectation and mindset when we engage in the study or practice of Dharma, because it doesn't work that way, And Geshe was checking over this as he tried to recall, I think many years ago, when he was leading another Shartse tour, and if I didn't mishear him, he said they were at Mount Shasta or something, and then as somebody asked them okay, how long it takes to attain nirvana or become Buddha? How many months? How many years? That's where I thought it was very strange question. I said, that I find. He said, what is your experience of traveling in America? What have you learned? I said, this is what I thought. People ask you, in how many months and years you can be Buddha. So I found that a little strange, And then many of them agreed with me. They said, because in the West, we are so advanced technologically, and we want everything on the tip of the fingers, instantaneous gratification, satisfaction, right now. That doesn't work, in the Dharma, growth and development.
Dhamma sarga majoa any this a kade Dhamma tismo Dhamma shenda told minyawa mugi sambase masa dina Dhamma sarga majoa sejiro or sarga said this sarga dida liu to mingra sheda Dhamma shushi to the Korea rimba that ya kuyo trade bonus majeshe 총자 잡서 디시는 거 따다 딩토 말아. 그래서 더더 디가 되시 공중 공배야 상로도야 렘버도 또 버게당 렘버디 어디 집에 서지래 다다 디에 쓰면 해야지.
In accordance with what we called the four essential points of ear-whispered lineage. There's mention of what called uninterrupted, the uninterrupted lineage of the empowerment or initiation, abhishek, and the continuation of the blessing lineage, and also the proper sequential order of presentation of doctrine, and the kind of a firm aspiration and faith in the doctrine. So the things I just talked about, it really is connected to what we called. It's so important to follow the sequential order of presentation of the path. We cannot do a hop stick jump of the teaching, right? Talk about this, and then you skip this one, and you talk about that, and then you clip that one, and everything has to be systematic, orderly, structured, and you follow the sequential order. In terms of your realizations, it will follow. You have whatever it starts off, it'll kick off the next sequential realization and the next, right? So we cannot skip any order, things like that. It's very important and pertinent in the presentation or teaching of Dharma.
Lekara ninje dolin suishin de shawala se beva reglas o se da desi wor tanda tige gon here that the tabji to kharshi wor se tabji de lede laglen tara des ta lede lede taya de kade se no te si wor ta ngondo hidu zo ne jo ga de lega yong de da phashi de lega do ngondo in this day dog say I do did it on your marwa. Lady on dog, lady just dog is. In lady that the lady getting the she does that and the dendro the currency care with you. And the Bazal Lumatin so did it get with a Kayamarwa. No, so think I is. Or that teaching we has of that ini lekana diya il dalen tata khade shugur silamna oti sheval da saji ro hi hi
we are at the bottom of page 32. The big caption reads, actions and their consequences. In other words, karmic actions and their results or outcomes. And as Geshe explained, that having contemplated and kind of deeply appreciated the death and dying meditation, we come to see that when this life comes to an end, that's not the end of everything. Okay? Something goes on. There is what we call rebirth. Okay? And in terms of rebirth, we can categorically say you will either be in a good migrations or bad migrations. So what determines the good and bad rebirth are not because you want to be whatever. It's determined by what kind of a karma you have created and accumulated. If we create good karmas, we will have good rebirth. If we create negative and bad karma, we will have bad rebirth. So this life existence is an outcome of previous karma, precipitated our rebirth here, which is a good one. Now, who we will be in the future, it depends upon what kind of karma we accumulate and create now. If we do the positive karma, we will have positive rebirth. If we do negative karma, we will have negative rebirth. So our rebirth is determined and follows the law of karma, not because you want this and you like this, your preferences. That's not what it is. Okay? It simply doesn't go that way. So in terms of rebirth, as we said, good rebirth, bad rebirth. There's no some kind of a neutral position here, neither good nor bad. There's no such rebirth as that. And so there are four key points we need to take into account as we contemplate the law of karmic action and results, or the four aspects of law of karma, four dimensions of the law of karma.
Oh, that somebody did to Tamji Akasa, did to Tarataji, getting Jesus wrong. Jesus shed the result, Miguel and Dumijum, Tiki, Yando Tamji, Gival and Dendo Tamji Kata, Gel Dendo Tamji, Yagu, Dawaji sauce, or did that leg gave us the day, Penata saw Jeval, then any call till Jibu Dumil Maguchi, Dawson young Arish. That be jumped to the shoe in the ticket and do the Dewama you doing that. Take a see. So the Yakosin did do doing the judge in the Jew Yakoin on today, your Marisha, till laying Yavas, what? Casa Naming Casa. They do try to get just a draw. I did it. That can't say Miguel doing it. That's Yawali Digata Juju. What is that? Yen medical in the late Jibu short rats on your marriage. The easy machine average. What is it? That depends on this lower. But send the charge and the water. Kumaguna. And the Jacob turned for Bruce Highly Jadu. And the Dungimo was called Shakato at the Yomara. She said, Tata Tonya Tonjulia today, who do Yakumina, in the Joshua Madon and Yimutilla Yapo Yungus lap tomorrow. On Taganaya, Jacob to that and that's Mumabuta and the Tonja church in the Garden. Chibe Tonya with Billy Peso Yapo shading it today in a middle to Shaka to Hidetamas and what is Shakato. She said that Shakato, Shima did with the doing washing Mara. No, Jubichiba Dora. Tell it is what leg never see what.
So we are on top of page 33. The first key point or the dimension or aspect of law of karma and results is the certainty of actions and their results. The certainty of law of karma. What this really basically means is that if we create and accumulate good positive actions, they will produce good positive results. If we create and accumulate bad negative karmic actions, they will produce negative results. So there's certainty about that, right? the good karmas will never bring bad results, and the bad karmas will never bring good results, because they cannot be messed up somewhere. That's not in the law of nature. And we have a citation from Nagarjuna's Ratna Avali, or Precious Garland, Rinchen Tengwa in Tibetan, which reads, I quote, "All sufferings are the result of unwholesome actions, so likewise are all bad rebirths. The pleasure enjoyed throughout our lives and all happy rebirths are the result of virtue," unquote. So this means that, as Geshe said, even in this life, the things we observe is if somebody, steals something or commits a crime, because it's a negative karma, he or she has to pay for it, isn't it? Either you get punished, you are locked in behind a bar, nobody give you a Nobel Prize for that one, you don't get recognition for that, you just get punishment, But if somebody promotes peace, harmony, community service, you get a lot of recognitions and plaques and Nobel Prize and all of those things. So that shows, right, different karmas produce different outcomes, If that is the case with what we can see with our eyes now, it is all the same about what happens after death. Good karmas will bring good results and bad karmas will bring bad results. And let's say if you kill someone, which is negativity, you have to suffer, pay for it. It is not going to end up well in here and hereafter. But if you go for refuge in Buddha and follow Buddha's precepts, that's good. It will be good here, it will be good hereafter. Okay?
What is Karsa? There are that so you believe patient that you never said because Mika Shini in the social in the Dhargye, any children to Jimbatan in Dominica, may start the touch chair or the leg ever single.
No.
Then you believe patients to the patients and the Tadat Koran laid this good children in a dear Jumbo Chebogel, they said, lay patients,
No,
so did it. No, because somebody you give the chumule young Jibu che Jibu they do che show your somely. The washing shebe young Jide Padu Jigenta Punjo Shebo she your de conversation to him, the solution shebe young Jide Padu Descende Tonzeta young she your de. And don't Punzo member share down say, did it? That cause good beauty children in the Jibushibo Mingris or this red conversion tokens that told there told me in the told the Yaya showed then nearly showed Michiru or so the quote down what the Nevaska Yomardi, Koyazi Pelud and Dishidra you are is. In the other, the Washington didn't Zmiam in Jimmy Sonsuguris. You are shooting in the court using magic that didn't do his own muscle the magic can't drop to the show race. You are called shooting in the Jewish get race. That thing on the Nam-kha to the hero, lovely to your King never done any Druzy Taki to the Kingdom of the Shoya did a king to say that. But he gets at that. Nonzo Tonjo did it or that. Nonzo Nama she got that the Asham to the Ayam Druzy Taki to the Toto Yawasham Asham Dodo Druchig Driven the Asham Tonga longer that.
No.
Young Tamil is it a chingra? No, she's at one. She said, today I told me that only she did what the Nendala King to love you. She said, what the told you that he did it. She said, Carry Jubisik that the dear Matavia to Korea, Kevala, Mother Minute, wanted to Sun Shia Yomara.
So we are in the middle of page 33. The second key point or the dimension or aspect of law of karmic actions result is called the Le Pelsheva, here translated as the multiplying nature of actions or the intensifying nature of karmic actions. So as Geshe explained, based upon the two stanzas quoted from Cont, special verses collected by topic, So what this really means, multiplying nature of karmic actions or intensifying nature of karmic actions means, a small karma looks like insignificant, with passage of time can produce a great result. That's what we are talking about, okay? So in the Buddhist literatures, you often make reference to the banyan tree, or in India it's called people tree. I don't think Americans call it people tree. Banyan tree, with a small seed, it really germinates in this huge tree with branches. And some of these trees at Buddha's time were so huge that 500 chariots can just kind of rest under its shade. It's that tree. So one little seed can germinate and produce this mammoth, banyan tree. So it's like that. Or, like as we know, if a small, like a dose of poison gets into your system, it can easily spread and kill you. We just can't say, I just got a drop of poison. Well, it's a drop, it can kill you. It's a big result there. Yeah? And so the lesson we get out of this is that even if it is a small negativity, do not undermine its intensifying nature, because this small negativity, bad karma, with passage of time can surprise you like, I'm here. It's a big suffering, okay? But even if it's a small karma, good karma, we don't, that's small, what's the big deal? No, with passage of time, this little good karma can surprise you with big rewards, This is called intensifying nature of karma. And Geshe was chuckling over these other examples, how all of us were farmers in South India. So we know, we grow their corns. In India, it's called maize. In America, called corns, that, we plant seeds. And then when we kind of harvest the crops, like one seed will produce like hundreds and thousands of corn seeds. That's why we are farmers, right? If you plant one seed and you are going to get back one seed, well, that's not a good business, isn't it? Who wants that? One seed and get one seed back. So you plant one seed and you get thousands back. And that's why we do farming. So this is how it is. The law of karma works in that way, just with the nature. One seed can produce thousands of seeds. So in the same way, one little good or bad karma can produce, thousand-fold results,
Doa tara. Teji le song maji be seje dane yendo shitara sanje lamja mong doba lamju doa doa tara. Teji le song shewa yi seje da ne dentro do sheda. Dikpa shidi shung la ya. Minu nyam de mesonte shi tekpa sabe ja. Denu keji kasta diga tanda de ta le karsa yewa she le pe cha she en le tada de ti sare ye chiba chu mi sa de ta khaji sha na pe chema de ijibu jamdo yongor mo de sha pe de chema me ya de me shi jamdo chema go ro shi de ta di chiba chu mi sa se de sare wa se na shi ya chiba chu mi sa as no en karsa maje de me ba chiba chu mi sa ta Shibashi Misawa said, Jamdo Yong said, no, but it said that Shibashi Misawa said that Lechi and the guy in the control of the Manzun could do with the Oyo Sojo. And Miga and Nibato Yimaya and could do with the Nami the Yunguawati, but the Karsa did it. Laying Yava said it, the Karsa, the Karsa. Chimisawa, Chimisawa.
근데 와도 되는 것도 되게 취미서 second 와도 막 되는 것도 돼.
다 사실 다다 되고도 취미서 강간염도 롱도 쇼지서.
할로롱스게. 노스게.
저제 딱데디 차도 부아도 제마 제 더그리스도 담데 취미서 하세요. 계절와. 노스게. 다디요 마지막 메테서 강가 쇼지 롱강가 쇼지서 봐. 노스게. 사실 강가 제어면도. 노스게. 디인사래. 노스. 다디 가제 le shiba shi misa di kanji di lamja mawa ya di ganga de Tero Lamja Mahdi, she was Shibashi Mesa said. That the way she Shumula said, that Pesha said, Tagi down to Jimara, do Shibu said, this is. This is called said, the Washing said, the Yakagi and Le Pesha said in the war.
No, so.
She think what to my music teaching the Joseph lady Shivara to Kursa. Shibara to come here. Yoshimi star Yigini, she here, Momism. She did what only from the conversation. You see a survey. Yoy, temper of the common here, so that did got it again. Lay Masiba the material, Shivashi is over. Did it go long time?
So at the bottom of page 33, you find two stanzas quoted from the same text, which is called special verses collected by topic or Tsom in Tibetan. Let's call it collected words of the Buddha. It's easier to say that. So which says, the example, just as the shadow of the bird accompanies it in the sky, so beings follow after wholesome and unwholesome actions. And so forth. So these two stanzas plus the next stanza on the top of page 34, these are the examples of another aspect or dimension of karma, which is called, once you have done accumulated karmas, they simply don't go waste because they will produce results. Okay? A good or bad karmas, once you have accumulated them, they will produce their good and bad results. Provided that, there's a condition, right, as Geshe is explaining, so in the case of good karmas, you have accumulated so much good karma in merit, and you don't destroy it with a moment of anger, right, then these good karmas will surely produce their result. They don't go waste. But if you get mad and upset and angry, too bad. Those got destroyed, you know. In the case of negative karmas, if we apply the four powerful antidotes, Nyambotopshi, to purify these bad karmas, of course these bad karmas will never bring the results. But if we don't apply those antidotes, then these bad karma, negative karmas will bring the results. They just don't go wasted because of some time factor. You know, it doesn't do that. So the examples given is like, just like we can watch the birds flying in the sky and their shadows kind of follow them. In the same way, good and bad karmas follow, right? Us, and we follow them. Our rebirth, is kind of determined by these actions. Just like people, who have a lot of provisions for their trip or a journey, they don't have to worry much. They can happily go on a trip and vacation or tour, like our Buddhist monks are doing here for the monastery. But so it's like if you have a lot of good karmas, you will have happy rebirth, good outcomes, and less worry. But if you have less provision, you have less money, less provision support on a tour or trip, then you have a lot of anxiety and worry, right? In the same way, if you have a lot of negativities, bad rebirth, lot of problems come up. So those are the examples of how karmic actions, once accumulated, good or bad, they don't simply go waste. They will bring their results under those conditions, provided they are not counteracted by different factors. Just like I said, if you make a lot of good karma, don't get mad or angry, they will produce it. If you go mad, too bad. You create a lot of negativities, you regret, you apply the four powerful antidotes, you don't have to suffer the bad karma. If you don't do that, it will get you. That's what it is. Then on page 34, the next stanza reads, we should not do even the smallest wrong, thinking it will do no harm, for the accumulation of drops of water will gradually fill a large vessel. So this talks about how the increasing nature of karma, right? If you think this is really little bad or good karma, it doesn't matter, it does. With time, it will produce big result. Just like, there's drops of water leaking, right? And with passage time, it can fill the container. My footnote, right? If you don't plug those drops of water, pay the water bill. Then it hurts you. It comes, okay? That's what it is. Footnote closed. Then the next, two stanzas there in the middle of page 34. So these are also to illustrate how if you don't create certain karmas, good or bad, you never will experience the outcomes. You don't have to worry about them. Okay? So these stanzas are kind of everywhere. That's why I was checking with Geshe-la. Geshe, these stanzas are everywhere to demonstrate or illustrate these different aspects or dimensions of law of karma. So it's a good thing to stop there today. Page 34, mark it. We just stop there. And, are there any questions on the social media? Chiwayu again. Yeah.
Would Geshe-la explain further the three levels of presentation of the law of karma and the Manren Chenmo according to the three levels of Dharma practitioners?
Okay. Well, that is a big Pandora box somebody's opening. That will take days, but okay. Kengi di chik kanang thogrebe sa ken tanta tagi kendi kanang bro ta lende lenge ba nye di shunne ka chimbo res nyamne sum bro gen. Cha lamrim ni cha sha wa ina ane lende pike ka so da deshe gyunda sum bro gen. Du du da ding da chel sha ne ane kibu chinding chu sum shel bro gen. Cha da kibu chinding chu so gen nyamlen da lende ka so wa da ken ka so shipta dige to al kengi deshe kyora na ti khande re sa ta di dewa di. Yeah, did you mama go like it? In that case,
that did it. When the Mikajibu sit him some the day Laglen Tara Valley Yamslas and the Jim Shumu said, Shema Dendota Tamjiro.
No,
that thing of mother which is there, lot that Geshe, call 10 Tara, someone to stanch. And Yamslas are the Chiguara, Jimatana Chiguara, do what you are the Shena. Samusandas and audition and then Tavatoyagi. But it is Samotani in Lambusia, given Jingit.
Tayan the Mikichumula task and let the Mangalsung with the Lam Diguna. And couldn't some Tabato Michigo then get Tabato with some tension.
Jivishu didn't use all Joyaji, Tarve, Samuel.
Did not come Mikichibata again. That didn't Mikichibon and Pejata because they gave Yagas Raya.
That Jim Shibos, that was the Chima Dedot, the Dutching in the top of the Carson of Mars, I am easy to yet. Then the Tara Dingo, that chop to Lord Jenny. Then the Tara some of them.
No,
but it was even drinking it. I was the Lang to some of them. Then the coin and Leon Jamie some of them. In the Yaman of Carson died. Gomatic, Jimbaton, Senator, lost a Kedai.
no, sir.
Oh, this is Jim Ringo. That is the division of share. And the Tarazan on the social Garza Topja to Zobo your Mari, and here Simja to Yashabushita, your Mari. That's how you come with Thompson and Beg, don't know that you got been of you to listen. Now you like Jenny, Charles and Jenny, that knows like as you know. Give me shimbo cigar. I think that Charles of Community, there's more Lindy Long she have many,
No, so.
Tell us, Charles of Lady tell us some actually you say, oh,
No, of course, this is a huge subject. Just to be sure to respond to your question for the moment, if we abide by the basic ethics of abandoning 10 negative actions of body, speech, and mind, yeah, and with the intention that I want to have a good rebirth in my next life. So that is, small scope practitioners' perspective on practice and the law of karma. Now, because they are only interested in next good rebirth, the small scope practitioners are not necessarily interested in nirvana or enlightenment. They just want a good rebirth next life. That's their immediate concern, and how they can get there is abide by the ethics of abandoning 10 negativities of body, speech, and mind. Basic ethics. Now, the intermediate level practitioner, because they want more than that, not just a good rebirth. They say, what happens? Okay, I can have one good rebirth, then again, I might end up in a worse situation. I really want to get out of samsara for good, because samsara is not what I'm interested in, right? Because of that motivation and mindset, then this person, of course, has to abide by the ethics of abandoning 10 negativities, body, speech, and mind, but has to do more, has to study the Four Noble Truths, and then based upon the Four Noble Truths, you follow the practices leading to nirvana. So that is a middle scope practitioner. Now, the advanced scope practitioner have a different mindset. That, what? Yeah, I could do that, but then how can I forget all the sentient beings who have been kind to me? We are all connected. So I would like to achieve enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings. With that kind of a motivation and heart and mindset, then abide by the basic ethics of abandoning 10 negativities of body, speech, and mind, and based upon that, the Four Noble Truths, build on top of others, and then cultivate great compassion, bodhicitta, and all of those things. So that's creating other levels of karma, isn't it? So this is how 3 levels of practices are related to law of karma. Okay. Next question.
What are the 4 antidotes for the purpose of purifying negative karma?
님부터 없이 가르쳐서 자기 게 미게 받지 님부터 없이 제 장난마다 코 기기를 하러 와게. 내부 제가 님부터 없이 가르쳐서 미게 장.
이거는 계시고 님부터 있어야 되게 땡도 없지라. 다 데레 땡도 넘버 순지부터. 얘네 님부 구디지부터 얘네 가래. 땡 이거 또 예발라도 예발로 다시 가는데 땡이 또 해야 돼. 얘네 잠조시야다. 얘네 정신성 공야 돼서 땡이도 없어 그러와. 다 님부 집에 또 해야 돼 되지 그래. 카드 가르치거나 뒤도달 네가 쳐야 뒤도달 소소 가르 어다 만동이나 되게 믹스 만동이나 얘기하다고 같이 냐내서 가르치거나 네가 뒤샤 도달 소소 샤스게 가르치는 될 님부 집에 또 그러와. 다다 남바 수인집에 사야 돼. 수 네가 시에서 하고는 체네. 근데 그 밤에 샤면 네가 체네. 그 시게 다르마 소사야 돼. 남바 수인집에 시거와. 다 예발라도 또서 다다 예마데 네가 시자서디 다 시제 미시서 예발 동도다. 에도 더버 남바 수인집에서 라 동도도 인지 미고다. 그 네가 다다 정도 찍샤 네가 성나 조리 양샤수를 상디레스는 팬도 그거 말이다. 나도 또 세이 계시죠. 나 진짜 미시사야지. 그 미시도 대토 얘네면은 거기 담자들 되는 진짜 미시사야지.
So the 4 powerful antidotes or nyembotopshi, the first one is called the antidotal power of the what called the basis. The basis meaning that going for refuge in Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, cultivating maybe compassion, bodhicitta. So these are called the power of the basis. Okay, and the second one is the power of contrition or regret. Once we have done anything negativity, we have to acknowledge it, recognize that, and we really have to regret for having done it. Feel remorseful for having committed the negativity. And then the third one is the power of applying antidotes, actual. Now we can apply any general or specific antidotes to negativity. Okay, like say if we have accumulated negativity, we can recite Om Mani Padme Hum 6-syllable mantra, Avalokiteshvara. We can recite 100-syllable mantra. We can do prostrations. We can do any good karmic action as an antidote to counteract negativity, or some specific, according to different negativities. And then the fourth one is the power of resolution, not to do it again, commitment. That, okay, I feel really bad about this, and now I have truly confessed my negativity and applied the antidote virtue. Now I don't want to repeat it anymore. Yeah. So these are called the 4 powerful antidotes to purify our negativity. So when you're doing it, this is how we feel it. Don't feel like, well, I did it, but then okay, not bad. Now, next time I do it again, I can purify it again. No, you can't think like that. You're tricking your mind, At the moment, you should be very sincere, honest, and do that. And next time, we don't know. You might do it again, but you have to apply the 4 antidotes again. But don't play the game in your mind. Geshe didn't say game, but I want to say it, right? Like, yeah, negativity today, like tomorrow, again, I can purify. It's good. I can purify, keep on purifying, doing it. No, not that one, okay? But that doesn't work, purification practice. No. Any more? Is that one more? Yeah.
How does the magnification of karma work? If the aftermath of a karma action prior to its ripening is a subtle form, how does this form become enlarged on its own, or does it?
Okay, I missed some parts there. Okay, can you repeat it one more time?
How does the magnification of karma work?
Mm-hmm.
If the aftermath of a karmic action prior to its ripening is a subtle form, how does this form become enlarged on its own, or does it?
Okay. Le pecha yo wage. Le pecha wa. When le chunju kiti kar saben ko pecha bu chag la wage. Ko debu chimbe ne gap so ko chimbu chadu se de chimbu chagda ngare chago re sa wage. Le chunju ji debu chimbu chin go wage.
Le chunju ji debu chimbu ji so.
어디 마다 chagda je ro da kola se ge ngazo ina de kala de tingsan ke jar se gyulam ro je ro ko kale kale jen di ka so debu ma jin se ro ko chimbu ro gari chago ina ge yo ro ge.
ko ji ko ji ge ma je se. Kora 요도 수주이 나이네 리부셔버 차요 그래서 다다다 배전의 여버도 제가 애네 신경 줬다고 리부 찍다 돼서 신당 앞에서 신경이 되시고로
노스
리부셔버로
나로 그런 콜레 코레 뉴버치를 대시자고 코 대시지 거기 저렇게 코 첨부 상나죠 여러분 코 패다를 줘 여러분 man 남주게 가서 디스무도 하게 공다게 다른 가서 뒤로 하게 사가다바를 제면 디바 찍 제외네 디바 가서 하게 또 뭉줄인데 차 없을 거라 꼭 창가를 쓰는 하고다 뭉차로 하게 혼자 니네로 렌즈 고거서 꼭 차다게
되게 다 되래 뒤 쳐버져서 뒤 쳐버릴 때는 지금 네가 이제 망차를 쓰고
어디로 니네 지당 레 춘주지 고 첨부 차다
다 그런 유래 그런 충이 좀 있어요.
So the Geshe says, because I was trying to get any clarification answer to that, how does the karma get magnified, intensified before it's ripening, you know? What is the explanation? But Geshe said that's already in the law of nature, you know? Just like we talked about the examples, a small seed has the potentiality to produce big banyan tree, you know? It's in that very nature. So the same thing with the karma, you know, it has that power or the potency to bring big fruition later on. That's all he can say. Okay, we'll stop there today, okay? We'll continue. We'll save the question for next week because I owe you an answer from last week, 2 weeks ago. Because last week we were very busy with Latin Rinpoche's thing, not like we forgot to answer the question, but there were too many things happening. Okay, so give me a second because I got the answer locked in here. Okay, so the question 2 weeks ago, in this translation, they mentioned about 6 topics, right? We said it's 6 preliminary practices, okay? And we try to give you some, our list was incomplete then. So we want, as we promised, we are back. So the 6 Jorwe Chutuk in Tibetan, 6 preparatory, 6 preliminary practices are, number 1, make your place of practice or home neat and tidy, and set all the objects of holy representations. That's 1. Okay, clean up the place of practice and set your objects of representations properly. That's 1. The next one is with pure motivation, without deception or some hidden agenda. That's what we call yomeba. You should set the offerings properly, accumulate it in a proper way. That's second point. Okay, setting the offering out of pure motivation and properly. Third one, sitting in the meditation postures of Vairochana Buddha, 7 postures of Vairochana Buddha, you generate, proper, like say, motivation, altruistic motivation, and take refuge. That is the third point altogether. The fourth one is you will visualize the merit field, the field of assembly. The fifth one is you make an offering of mandala and the 7-limb practice. Yanla Timba 7-limb practice. Sixth one is that with utmost sincerity from the bottom of your heart, so you make a supplication. Okay, so those are the 6 preparatory practices which call 6 topics in this translation. Okay, so closed. Now we'll do the dedication. Manjushri prayer in Tibetan, and then one stanza long life prayer of President Song Rinpoche, and then other dedication prayers. Kange lode dimnyen dinde nyinda namda rabzebe chinyen dungun jishen ziche nije duba leba kanda sibe zenrar mare mendon dongen jise lozo kunla buje daze yanla chuju yande loda cheto nyemo nyelo leje chato 동해 유고 진예 전제 라데나 전에 다제 사주 다즈 연대 런조 예세 주 주자 주다 주니 견대 다른 어마라바다나 어마라바자나데 젠데 제제 케라 르세제 다르 데모 멤버 랍세네 가다 로데 보베 나완젠도 소 로데 야즈 위종게가 제 계산 본외 취도 멤버신 덴바진라 원도 샤라 소완데 장조 셈조 렘보제 마제 바나 계조제 계와 냠바 메바 본네 원도 배와 쇼 동니 다와 렘보제 마제 바나 계조제 계와 본네 원도 배와 쇼 사시 베제 조제 멘도 자베라 并且您的眼光的上界行动没，如果能达行，确保说刚才绕越过越新港的本当的我们的中越那些，下边是的把天教节一当古如然呢，给。de